Good evening once again. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll go straight to what we have for you this evening. President Museveni has sent a condolence message to the Vatican mourning His Holiness Pope Francis. In his message, the president says that it is with profound sadness that I have received the news of the passing of His Holiness Pope Francis. On behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Uganda, and on my own behalf, I extend our deepest and most heartfelt condolences to you and through you to the entire Catholic Church worldwide. His Holiness Pope Francis will be remembered as an extraordinary spiritual leader and a deeply respected theologian whose unwavering commitment to the faith revitalized the Church's mission in an increasingly secular world. His voice for peace, social justice, compassion, and humility touched the hearts of millions and inspired hope among the faithful. His readiness and enthusiasm to deal with other faiths, such as the Muslims, the Orthodox Christians, and others, meant that he was a religious leader that was truly in the Kisinde track of Jesus, as Jesus taught us in the parable of the Good Samaritan in the book of Luke chapter 10, verse 29 to 37. His legacy of love, unity, and service to humanity will endure for generations to come. We stand in solidarity with Catholics in Uganda and around the globe during this time of mourning. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Please accept, Your Eminence, the assurances of my highest condolences. Signed by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda. In more news, President Yoweri Museveni today hosted the President of the Republic of Togo, His Excellency Faure Eswazimna, at State House, at State Lodge in Nakasero. The two leaders held discussions on matters of mutual interest, focusing on regional security and strengthening bilateral ties. President Museveni emphasized the importance of unity among African nations in addressing security challenges and advancing development goals. The meeting was also attended by Right Honorable Amama Mbabazi, the former Prime Minister of Uganda, Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, General Jeje Odongo, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Joseph Ochwet, the Director General of the External Security Organization, and a delegation from Togo, including Mr. Robert Dosey, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. The African troop contributing countries to Somalia are discussing the peacekeeping mission in Somalia under the new name AUSOM. Under the African Union Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia, the meet also will find tangible solutions to the unstable funding to the mission and strategies in stabilization of Somalia. The meeting was opened by Ambassador John Mugera for Uganda's Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Vincent Bajide.
An extraordinary meeting of troops contributing countries to stabilization of Somalia is attended by senior security officers from Uganda, Kenya, Egypt, Djibouti, Ethiopia, and of course Somalia. The week-long summit is also having representatives from the African Union Commission and the UN Security Council that will see the meeting coming up with tangible solutions to the funding of the mission and strategies in stabilizing of Somalia.
The African Union mission has faced the challenge of inadequate, unpredictable, and unsustainable funding. This has happened from AMISOM, the ATMIS, then now African Union Support Stabilization Mission. But we are glad that the UN Security Council adopted Resolution 2719 of 2023, where they agreed that the UN Security Council will provide 75% of the budget and 25% will be mobilized from other partners. But we also, in this meeting, we are having African Union Commission and United Nations to explain on how best they will address the inadequacy but also unpredictable funding for the mission, especially the mission in Somalia.
The meeting will receive situation reports from the sector heads and the host country, Somalia, for strategic planning.
We have sectors from Sector 1 up to Sector 6. And every country, or every troop contributing country, is giving a performance of each sector. From there, we are intent to hear the host nation, which is Somalia, on how they are progressing. Because even when the mission is there, they are doing a job of the host nation. So we need to know, and Somalia will provide a presentation in terms of force generation, in terms of force integration, and how they plan that ASOM mission will exit, because it seems their readiness and state of preparedness that will give us the adequate space for the mission to exit.
Ambassador John Mugeroa from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs calls for establishment of political wing of African Union support and stabilization mission in Somalia to oversee its activities.
For ASOM and Somalia security forces to succeed, there is need to establish a political body to oversee the stabilization process in Somalia with a monitoring and evaluation mechanism. This would require us to develop a strategic roadmap in addressing political governance in the country, including political reconciliation, cohesion, and dialogue among the federal government of Somalia, the federal member states, clan leaders, among others.
African Union support and stabilization mission in Somalia is the latest peacekeeping mission the country authorized by the UN Security Council. It started operations in January 2025, replacing the African Union transition in Somalia, ATMIS. Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kampala.
The Papal Nuncio to Uganda, Archbishop Luigi Bianco, has highlighted the greatest legacies of the late Pope Francis as far as impacting the Catholic faith and his efforts to make the world a better place. He referred to Pope Francis as a lover of peace and joy above everything else, urging the faithful to remain a whole awaiting the election of yet another Pope.
Francis peacefully died in the Vatican. He was called to the house of the Father. In this moment, we are grateful to God and to him for his generous service to the Church and the whole human family. We are invited to pray for him and to commend his soul to the mercy of God. From Uganda, I have immediately received many messages of condolences. Pope Francis visited Uganda and many people expressed admiration and expression of appreciation for the service of Pope Francis. His first document, his programmatic document, was the joy of the gospel. It is important to present the gospel of Jesus as a message of joy, of fulfillment of our aspirations, and also we have now in this holy year for the Jubilee, Ordinary Jubilee 2025, Pope Francis chose this theme, Pilgrim of Hope.
Lost is joy, is optimism, is hope. He has been a source of hope for everyone. And when there were the crusade, where people were fighting one another, Francis sent his missionaries to talk with the Muslim, and he called them brothers. Everybody for Francis was his brother. There were no enemies. were no need of having enemies. What Francis of Assisi represented, one who loved the entire world, one who did not have enemies, one who was merciful to all, one who was compassionate to the poor, to the needy, to the sick, to the abandoned, to the rejected one who went an extra mile in order to reconcile people.
The director of the Directorate of Health and Hygiene of the Vatican City, released the cause of the death for Pope Francis, saying that a stroke followed by coma and irreversible cardiovascular collapse led to the Holy Father's death. Hundreds of faithfuls joined Mauro Cardinal Gabetti in St. Peter's Square yesterday to pray the Most Holy Rosary of the Blessed Virgin Mary in the Church's universal language of Latin for the repose of the soul of Pope Francis. Today, workers from the members of the Curia gathered at the chapel of Santa Marta to say goodbye to Pope Francis. Tomorrow, Wednesday, his body will be carried in procession to St. Peter's Square and will enter the Vatican Basilica through the central door.
tua, sicut in cielo et in terra.
Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris.
Preghiamo. O Dio grande nell'amore, volgi il tuo sguardo al popolo che ti prega. Noi ti ringraziamo per i doni elargiti alla Chiesa con il ministero apostolico di Papa Francesco e a Lui che ha testimoniato tra noi la tua tenerezza per i piccoli e i poveri, la tua misericordia per i peccatori, la tua benevolenza verso tutti. Concedi di partecipare alle nozze dell'Agnello in comunione con la Vergine Maria, l'Apostolo Pietro e tutti i santi e le sante del cielo. Per Cristo.
Per risorgere con Lui, aspergiamo il corpo del nostro Papa Francesco. Rendiamo grazie a Dio che reggiamo il corpo del nostro Papa Francesco. Rendiamo grazie a nella luce della beatitudine eterna. Per Cristo, a una vita nuova in Cristo, nello Spirito Santo.
Nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie,
Pope Francis' death prompted heartfelt tributes from leaders across the globe. Widely admired for his humility, compassion, and advocacy for peace and the marginalized, he served as a guiding light since becoming Pope in 2013. He served as a guiding light since becoming Pope in 2013. World leaders including India's Narendra Modi, Italy's Giorgia Meloni, France's Emmanuel Macron, the UK's Keir Starmer, Russia's Vladimir Putin, and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky expressed deep sorrow at his passing. Remembered as both a spiritual leader and a global symbol of hope, his legacy endures. The Vatican is preparing funeral arrangements as millions mourn the loss of the beloved people's Pope. UBC News Tonight. Now, after the death of Pope Francis, an Irish-American cardinal is playing a leading role in overseeing Vatican affairs until a new pope will be elected. Cardinal Kevin Farrell is a key figure in the papal succession because of his appointment in 2019 as the Camerlengo of the Apostolic Chamber.
The Camerlengo is a major official of the Roman Curia who does not lose his office while the papacy is vacant. The Camerlengo, whose role is regulated by the 1996 document Universi Dominici Gregis and the 2022 Apostolic Constitution Predicate Evangelium, administers church finances and property during the interregnum. Paragraph 17 of Univers Dominici Gregis reads, the Camerlengo of Holy Roman Church must officially ascertain the Pope's death.
Carissimi fratelli e sorelle, con profondo dolore.
He places seals on the Pope's study and bedroom and the entire papal apartment.
Il Vescovo di Roma Francesco è tornato alla casa del Padre.
The Camerlengo later notifies the Cardinal Vicar for Rome of the Pope's death. The Cardinal Vicar then notifies the people of Rome by special announcement. The Camerlengo takes possession of the Apostolic Palace in the Vatican and the palaces of the Lateran and of Castel Gandolfo and manages their administration. As Pope Francis resided in the Casa Santa Marta in Vatican City instead of the Apostolic Palace, the Camerlengo also takes possession and seal of those quarters as well for the duration of the sede vacante.
In modo particolare a favore dei più poveri ed emarginati.
Only the Pope may choose the cardinal to fill the position of Camerlengo, though he may also leave it vacant, in which case the College of Cardinals would hold an election to fill the office at start of a sede vacante.
Benito amore misericordioso de Dio uno et trino.
The responsibilities of the Camerlengo or Chamberlain include ascertaining the Pope's death, performing some of the rites connected to a papal funeral, overseeing the preparations for a conclave, and managing the administration of the Holy See until the election of the next Pope. Farrell's nomination as Camerlengo was one of the several marks of the deep trust Pope Francis placed in the Dublin-born cleric. In 2016, the Pope named Farrell prefect of the dicastery for the laity, the B family, and life, which replaced the Pontifical Council for the laity and the Pontifical Council for the family. He gave him the Cardinal's Red Hat months later. Farrell also had other roles assigned by Pope Francis. As prefect, Farrell oversaw the planning of the World Meeting of Families in Dublin in 2018 and in Rome in 2022. He also oversaw World Youth Day in Panama in 2019 and in Portugal in 2023. In 2020, Pope Francis put the Cardinal in charge of a committee monitoring internal Vatican financial decisions that fell outside other accountability norms, making him uniquely informed about Vatican finances among the hierarchy. In 2022, the Pope also appointed Farrell chairman of a new commission to oversee investments. In his most recent sign of trust in Farrell, Pope Francis also put the Cardinal in charge of the reform of the Vatican's gravely unbalanced pension fund, naming him sole administrator at a critical juncture. At the death of the Pope, Farrell seized all roles except for Camerlengo. Who is Cardinal Kevin J. Farrell? Kevin Joseph Farrell was born in Ireland on September 2, 1947. He entered the Congregation of the Legionaries of Christ in 1966 and was ordained to the priesthood on December 24, 1978. Farrell studied at the University of Salamanca in Spain and the Pontifical Gregorian University and Pontifical University of St. Thomas in Rome. He served as the chaplain of the Legion of Christ's Apostolic Movement Regnum Christi at the University of Monterrey in Mexico. He later denied having prior knowledge of sexual abuse on the part of the Legion of Christ's founder, Micheal Lukomwa. After leaving the Legionaries, Farrell was incardinated in the Archdiocese of Washington in 1984, serving in roles including director of the Spanish Catholic Center before becoming the Archdiocese finance officer in 1989. In 2002, he was named an auxiliary bishop of Washington, serving as moderator of the Curia and Vicar General, a chief advisory role to the then Cardinal Theodore McCarrick.
That is the situation in Vatican, and that's who the Camerlengo is. Now, as part of his visit to Uganda in November 2015, Pope Francis paid a visit to Munyonyo Catholic Martyrs Shrine in Kampala. Today, as we join in the mourning of his passing, we try to recount the times and moments he spent at the site. Most importantly, the Pope planted a tree of unity and left behind a wooden chair on which he sat on during the 2 hours visit at the shrine.
As the country and the world at large joins in the mourning of the demise of the head of the Catholic faith in the world, Pope Francis, here in Uganda we are trying to recollect the moments which followed or ushered in his visit here in Uganda in the year 2015. Here at Munyonyo Minor Basilica, the Pope visited this place, and this is the story we are going to tell. It was a long moment of preparation and waiting that Pope Francis later arrived at Munyonyo Martyrs Catholic Shrine on 27th November 2015. Reverend Father Ronnie Chinakajo walks her through the journey of Pope Francis' visit almost 10 years ago.
It was something which was precious for everyone. People came very early in the morning to see that they can see the Pope. In fact, being that it was the first visit in Africa, this was something important.
By then, Reverend Father Ronnie Chinakajo was a young seminarian but followed every moment closely.
The time the Pope came here, I was in Tanzania, in the city of Morogoro, pursuing my studies in the seminary, and I was privileged to be part of those who were here the time he came.
But what had brought Pope Francis at this basilica? This is a question we posed to Father Ronnie, who has now transited from a seminarian to now a parish priest.
First, he had to come and meet the catechist, but also to visit the spot where everything started. When we talk about the Uganda matters, where martyrdom started, where the journey started, so this shows why he came.
To him, the pontiff feast acted as a symbol of unity, as many clerics couldn't miss this occasion.
Well, a number of people were here, and he was welcomed by the Franciscan friars, Father Marian, Father Wojtek Ullman, the parish priest of this place, and some other friars from Rome. They welcomed him, and there were also some other bishops present that time, and also some.
So to date, this legacy lives at Munyonyo through this tree, which was planted alongside 4 other local bishops.
Among the things he did, he watered and blessed the unity tree. You see the unity. There were bishops from the Anglican Church, our bishop, the late Archbishop Cyprian Chizitoranga, and also our father Marian Goum Kajubi. We see that connection.
As the country mourns Pope Francis, the seat where Pope Francis sat during his visit at this shrine has been pressed into the basilica as a remembrance and celebration. Joan Ntongo Bisaso is a site guide at Munyonyo Matters Catholic Shrine.
Pope came in 2015 and placed a cornerstone straight from the tomb of St. Francis of Assisi and attached an indulgence to whoever comes in this place and touches it and says the Pope's intentions. With the pilgrims that keep coming here, many come, they touch the stone with a lot of faith, they give the Pope's intentions, and they get renewed.
This cornerstone has become a key attraction of faith in Uganda.
And this is what the Pope has been in our lives. He has been wanting us to understand our faith. He has been shepherding us to understand our faith and to go closer to God.
Since then, Munyonyo Matters Shrine has moved to greater heights.
We see that the place which had been abandoned, here there were trees except the the relics chapel we have. Nothing, the basilica was not here.
So mourning the Pope allows his memory and desire to live on.
For me, I may think that we may not just put something, but we lived like him.
Uganda was among the first countries on the African continent to host Pope Francis in 2015. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
It's more than 36 hours when the world was engulfed with the sad news of the passing of Pope Francis. Today, UBC TV further extends the conversation about the pontiff with Father Tonino Pasolini from Arua Catholic Diocese, who had the chance to physically interact with the pontiff just last year.
Easter Monday dawned as a day of grief in the world when the sad news about the demise of Pontiff Francis was announced by the Camerlengo in the Vatican. Time check was 7:35 a.m. when the 88-year-old Pontiff Francis took his last breath hours after his historic resurrection of Jesus Christ.
And he could not have chosen a better day, because Easter for us Christians is the triumph of life over death.
In our conversation with the different clerics in the Catholic faith, we met Father Tonino Pasolini, the communications coordinator for Arua Diocese, who is blessed to have had physical interactions with the fallen Pontiff Francis. Father Tonino describes Pontiff Francis as a man of peace who was able to freely share his love with the prisoners, the poor, and any other class of people.
When he wanted to go to South Sudan, he talked to me. I met him in 2014, in November. I was in Rome, and in the morning I went to pray with Pope Francis in the private small chapel. We were about 24 people, 25 people. He welcomed one by one to say a few words, and with me I was so happy to see him, to touch him. And also I said, I want you to come to Uganda, so that also I hope that you come to West Nile. We will host you on our radio.
The pontiff also served as the Bishop of Rome. However, during his reign, he encountered several challenges, but with the grace of God, he managed to overcome them.
Many people in the Catholic Church resisted him because from the very beginning he chose one name that no other pope has ever chosen, Francis. Why? Because of remembering Francis of Assisi, refugees from Africa, that they were crossing the Mediterranean and exploited by some evil people. So that also caused the problems, from politicians who were not in agreement with his vision.
However, following the death of Pontiff Francis, the debate on who occupies the vacuum of the fallen pontiff as the 267th Pope of the Roman Catholic Empire is on. Father Tonino shares with us the procedure of appointing a new pontiff.
They are a college of cardinals, with one called Camerlengo and so on. But I know that there are more than 100. They come from 29 different countries in the world. And afterward, there will be a conclave, meaning all those have to be not older than 80 years old, okay? Those have the capacity of choosing our new leader in the future.
As the world awaits the new incoming pontiff after putting to rest Pontiff Francis, one of the biggest controversies was his consideration of purported homosexuals as part of humanity by preaching justice and love among people regardless of their sexual status.
Yes, I mean, he was
super wali yakapya musite wali yakapya MTN kabo de super mustairo mpya then you kabo de smartphone ne byakabibyonna MTN kabo de super mustairo mpya then you kabo de smartphone ne byakabibyonna.
Get the new Kabode Super smartphone and enjoy 16 GB free. Start with a deposit of only 45,000 Uganda shillings and pay the rest mpora in daily installments of less than 1K. You can also make weekly and monthly installments. Together, our vibes are unstoppable. Terms and conditions apply. MTN. MTN is regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukota Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
The Uganda National Oil Company, UNOC, is wholly owned by the Government of Uganda and was established to safeguard and promote Uganda's commercial interests in the petroleum sector. UNOC has two subsidiaries, the Uganda Refinery Holding Company, URHC, which will hold a 40% stake in the 60,000 barrel per day refinery and manage the development of Kabalega Industrial Park, and the National Pipeline Company Limited, NPC, in charge of pipelines, storage, and downstream business ventures. This subsidiary subsidiary holds 15% interest in the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, EACOP. EACOP is a 1,445-kilometer long pipeline that will transport crude oil through 10 districts in Uganda to the port of Tanga in Tanzania. UNOC is also actively engaged in crude oil exploration, development and production activities, and its participation role includes a 15% stake in the Tilenga, Nwoya and Bulisa and Kingfisher development projects, Chikure. UNOC also holds the exploration license for Kasuruban Block in Hoima, Bulisa and Masindi. UNOC currently owns and manages the Ginger Storage Terminal and will build a 320 million litre capacity terminal in MPG called the Kampala Storage Terminal. At UNOC, we're harnessing the potential of Uganda's petroleum resources, forging a sustainable future and preserving the natural beauty of Uganda. UNOC, your partner in Uganda's oil and gas industry.
Is on a mission. It makes our gums happy and our teeth strong. See? We're moving forward and making changes.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate Science for healthy gums and strong teeth. And we'll leave no smile behind.
Special announcement from the Baseline Education Census 2025. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Sports, is conducting the Baseline Education Census 2025. This exercise will cover all learning institutions in the country for both government and private establishments, namely pre-primary, primary, secondary, vocational, and higher institutions of learning. The Baseline Education Census exercise data collection is being conducted in a phased manner, starting with Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, comprising of districts of Kampala, Mukono, and Wakiso. The rollout to all other regions will commence at the beginning of second term. The Baseline Education Census collects information on learners, teachers, and school facilities to facilitate planning and policy decisions in the education sector. Uganda Bureau of Statistics appeals to the general public, heads of schools and institutions, as well as the local government authorities to cooperate with the BEC enumerators. In a special way, UBOS appeals to all parents of the learners to support the exercise by availing learners with their correct date of birth, national identification number, and learner's identification number. For more information, please call 0772 933 628 or 0743 787 189 from Dr. Chris Mukiza, Executive Director.
UBC News Tonight will come back from that short break. Now, the administrator of Mapeda Bakateyamba's home, Sister Mary Lawrence, has reflected on the 20 minutes visit of Pope Francis at their Nalukolongo Best home in 2025. Sister Mary Lawrence says that the Pope's visit was exceptional and so significant.
28th November of 2015 went down in the history of the Catholic Church here in Uganda. The day will forever be memorable among the management of Mapera Bakateyamba's home in Nalukolongo, a Kampala suburb. The home administrator, Sister Mary Lawrence Nachu, happily recalls the moment.
Seeing that Pope made appointment that he's coming here to Nalukolongo because of the work done in this place, which was not taken so important by other people. I was so delighted and encouraged.
Sister Nachu narrates about the events of the Pontiff's visit, which involved praying for the sick and all they needed at the facility.
When he reached here, he thanked the Good Samaritan sisters, those who are involved in this charitable service, for the good work they render to the needy people, especially the elderly, the sick, and the poor people.
According to Sister Nachu, the Foreign Pontiff issued heartfelt appeals, asking people to always help those in need and not to forget the poor. This was his trademark, Pope of the Poor.
He appealed to the parishes and the communities in Uganda and also in Africa to be concerned, to be merciful, not to close doors to those who are poor, who are old, but to continue helping them.
At the facility, Pontiff Francis decried the growing culture of indifference, especially toward the elderly, the unborn and the youth who are exploited by human traffickers.
Care. Here you can feel the presence of Jesus, our brother, who loves each of us with God's own love.
According to Sister Nachu, this state of affairs compelled the Pontiff to call for peace, love and unity.
He encouraged the family members. He said that love, true love, begins at home. The parents themselves, they teach their children how to love. But when they are doing that, not only their children, but also the elderly people.
Here at the facility of the needy and elderly persons is a footprint of Pontiff Francis, where he first set his feet upon touching the ground at Nalukorongo Home of the Needy. The footprint of Pontiff Francis is situated right in front of the chapel. To Sister Nachu, this is proof the Pontiff disembarked from his car right here.
This is a mark where Pope Francis stepped his first print. And the people are so proud to stand here. Whoever comes here and is shown that this is the place where Pope Francis stepped first, they feel so glad, and it is like a blessing.
Despite her story flow with a great touch and feel, however, she became overwhelmed with emotions about the sad news of the Pontiff's death on Easter Monday. Sister Nachu urged the stakeholders to give the place a new facelift to match the legacy of the Pontiff's visit.
It depends to the government how they take things, but it would be good, very good, to uplift that his visit to this place.
Maperaba Katayamba's home Nalukolongo was founded by the late Cardinal Emmanuel Chiwanuka Nsoboga in 1978 and is managed by the Diocese of Kampala and the Good Samaritan Sisters. Amwa Evanjuko for UBC.
That was at the Bakateyamba where our reporter talked to the administrator. Meanwhile, Fort Portal Catholic Diocese joined the rest of the world to pray for the departed soul of Pope Francis in a requiem mass held at Our Lady of Snow Virica Cathedral, that is in Fort Portal City.
The Bishop of Fort Portal Diocese, Right Reverend Bishop Robert Muhira Akiki, who led the Mass, reflected on Pope Francis' love for the poor and the underprivileged, which Christians should emulate in their daily lives. Bishop Muhira called on Christians to be merciful and kind to the world, using the example of Pope Francis, especially to those in need.
So, being pilgrims of hope, we need to realize that we need to walk together. We are not on this world forever, but we are here in transit, moving to our heavenly home. And as such being the case, we need to respect and work together with people regardless their walks of life, their status in life, and so forth.
Other religious believers commend the Pope for fighting for the rights of women, recognizing their roles, not only church, but the world in general.
We shall remember him for so many things, but more especially the recognition of women. This thing has not been there, But in his regime, in his time of office as a pope, he has really done that, and he has brought the church close with women, because whenever you have a gathering, women are many. So indeed, he really brought the women close to the church and close to the service in the world.
According to Father Peter Chomuhendo, in charge of social communications at Fort Portal Catholic Diocese, the Pope's dedication to protection of nature and saving the world from the effects of climate change will always be followed world over, even after his life.
Yagonzaga muno ebyobuhangwa kandi yagonzaga muno kukonyera abanaku kandi niturora ngu Papa Francis nani chekirale kyatwireki amananu gale abairagonza muno ebyobuhangwa kusikira no bihandiko bye byaturukize.
Other Christians prayed for Pope Francis for his dedicated love towards humanity and living as a true example to many believers.
Concerned about the poor, the people who have no help, the children, the sick, the elderly, and all those people in prison have no help.
Pope Francis became a pope in 2013 as the 266th pope who took over from Pope Benedict XVI. Brian Tumwinebiaruhanga, Bridget Kabahenda, UBC News.
Yes. In more news, Prime Minister of Uganda, Prime Minister Robin Nabbanja has directed the CID police and the IGG to investigate allegations of ghost pupils in students in government schools. Nabbanja made the directive during the commissioning of the ICT and laboratory block of St. Paul's Senior Secondary School in Kihumuro, Kakumiro district.
On behalf of government, the President of the Republic of Uganda,
the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robin Nabbanja, this afternoon commissioned an ICT and library block for St. Paul SS Kihumuro in Kakumiro district, which has cost the taxpayer worth 520 million shillings borrowed from the World Bank.
We thank Kakumiro district administration for working hard and for implementing this project in time. Currently, we have 128 girls and 119 boys, making a total of 247. Last year we had 116. When the senior fours left, they remained 103. But now the number has more than doubled.
The Prime Minister observed that despite government efforts of ensuring that every child goes to school, the school dropout is still very high.
Balimba wano mu primary mu P1 nti abaana abawala bali 10, abalezi bali 12, 220. Bwe batuuka mu P6 kati bagenda mu P7 baba tebalina bwe banaalimba, naye they dropped out. Ne tusigaza 24. Abaana bali 20 oba 30 ne bagaba bali 50. So we also have that told. We have ghost students.
Factors nyingi muno. One, temanyire chama nangira kiresere bana bayingaha abokuru abali nkaha balo mu kyaro, but also we are having issues of private schools. Abandi ne baruka kunu arobutugambaga abana barugiremu baitu balo mu somero abo kwa barugira mu somero ndo bagenda nkaha mu private schools. Kandi ompi wantu ina abana bali mbibiri baitu ompise betu ina abana 30 asatu baitu kiumurongi yao bana baroho baitu ali 30 ompise 7. Abana barugamu musomero baliyo mbyaro tugoza kutolereza kuongera kubasaiga busaiga bakurugamu abazaire abamu tibali serious, abazaire nabo tibali serious, abana bakubayamu abamu ba processor.
Nabbanja directed Kakumiro district leaders and the criminal investigation department of the police and the IGG's office to investigate allegations of ghost students and pupils.
Between an exhibit which are ghost, because the IGG discovered that amasomero ga kulimbaga abana bali P1 for capitation grants. I think something is not clear. DO, you also need to help us, the inspector of schools, how you can send the auditors. Auditors not only look for money, because this is where money goes. So police can also help us to investigate this. The CID department can help us. So we have so many. I will also send IGG to find out exactly what is it.
We thank you so much for watching. Let's take a short break. Keep it with us.
Tukwaniriza waka eri ebisanyusa. Eri Wi-Fi buli wamu. Eri speedi za internet ezawaggulu. Eri obukuumi. Eri obuyambi obuli mu ddaali lisooka. Eri okwanguyirizibwa. Tukwaniriza waka eri MTN Wakanet. Internet yensukkulumu eri buli maka. Kyalira www.mtn.co.ug/wakanet. Tukwaniriza waka nga tuli wamu tewali kitulema.
All right, listen up. Clerical is on a mission. See, and our teeth strong. See, we're moving forward and making changes.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate Science for healthy gums and strong teeth.
And we'll leave no smile behind.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotellaconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
According to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics Census Report of 2016, in Uganda, 12.4% of the population, about 4.5 million, live with a disability. Limited access to ICT and assistive technologies increases digital disparities, prompting UCOSAF's aim to promote digital inclusiveness for persons with disabilities. The ICT for People with Disability program aims to improve the accessibility of education and technology for persons with disabilities and promote their full and effective participation in society. UCOSAF is implementing this program through the creation and maintenance of an online observatory for persons with disabilities intended to link persons with disabilities with service providers and different programs that empower them, and provision of adaptive tools that enhance their quality of life through ICTs and digital skilling.
Life in Uganda today comes with so many uncertainties.
Where will Madam get Kameza if I get an accident and can't work? If anything happens to me, what will Junior eat?
Yeah, Kale Musa is still in the hospital. Guy is missing a lot of money here.
With a monthly payment of only 3,000 shillings off your Equity personal account for EquiLife insurance, you will be entitled to 50,000 shillings hospital cash per night spent in a registered facility, up to 20 nights every year. and your family will receive 3 million shillings in case of your death. Visit your nearest equity agent to sign up today or call 0312 327 000 for assistance.
We used to run, but most of the time we were running away from something. But nowadays, everything seems different. People still run, but they are running towards something. They run to test their limits, to break new records. And when we do it right, we inspire others.
The inaugural Coffee Marathon, uplifting rural coffee women, 24th May at Africa Coffee Park, Ntungamo.
Come, let us run.
To register, dial *217 *413 #. Choose option 4. Or scan the event QR code or visit the website to choose the race options. Brought to you by Inspire Africa Group.
Amazina ganje ninyetekwa Seruhanga John Bosco ninduga mu district ya Rukungiri ndio muhanguzi wa miliyoni 18 na Uganda National Rotary nzahangwire urwo mu kuzana *278# ngafuna message eriko mu muhanguzi nashemererwa konka nabaza kugira ngo nebiya bafere sente ziriyo zona bakaziteka ko nazihangwira.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Business news tonight. Uganda's status as a power surplus nation may soon face new dynamics as the East African power pool becomes fully operational this May, with an ambitious target of generating over a mixed power generation of over 52,000 megawatts through a diversified energy mix by 2040. Uganda is positioning herself to become a major electricity player in the region and potentially across the continent.
With a current generation capacity of 2,043 megawatts against a peak demand of about 1,000 megawatts, Uganda has surplus electricity, an opportunity to export power to neighboring countries.
So here, please, don't say again that we now have enough electricity. Please, don't say that again.
The recently concluded 32nd Steering Committee and 20th Council of Ministers in the East African Power Pool ratified trade rules, launched the regulatory body, and discussed critical collaborative issues. Established in 2005, the East African Power Pool has taken nearly 2 decades of negotiations. Now, the 13 member states have agreed unanimously to commence power trading starting in May this year.
Let's not dwell on small things. Let's work together to ensure the objectives of the East African Power Pool is actually delivered.
The estimation when this starts won't be significantly different from the 2025 megawatts that we have, but there is a lot of generation plans growing the generation capacity, because we know by 2040, according to the government policy, we should be at 52,000 megawatts, including things like nuclear and others.
To ensure smooth operation, the member states have also set up trade and marketing unit to manage transactions and market coordination. Uganda is currently engaging in electricity trade with neighboring countries through bilateral agreement arrangements.
With Kenya, Rwanda, and Tanzania. So, using the infrastructure that is available, we are able to participate in the East African Power Pool trading. However, to improve on this trading, we need to improve on the interconnectivity.
Enhancing cross-border interconnections will reinforce Uganda's role in regional electricity trade.
What we are saying is that the infrastructure that exists now allows us to begin trading on the East African Power Pool, and With the support of the East African Power Pool and NELSAP, we've been able to do the feasibility studies for new interconnections, which I've already mentioned, and the construction works are going to start. So the trading on the East African Power Pool platform will even become better after 2 or 3 years when these interconnections have been completed.
Developing and upgrading interconnecting infrastructure will ensure seamless electricity exchange once the market and trading unit are fully operational. Dennis Igor for UBC.
Now, the world of sports continues also to mourn the death of Pope Francis. Even with the suspension of Serie A games, it is on record that sports lovers cherished and loved his works for the game.
What is climate?
The 2008 Education Act of Uganda stipulates that all school-going children must be in school. The Sustainable Development Goal number 4, also known as Quality Education, ensures inclusive and equitable quality education. It should be free, equitable and quality primary education to ensure access to early childhood.
Born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, young Francis grew up in a neighborhood where soccer wasn't just a pastime, it was a way of life. He often recounts memories of playing barefoot in dusty streets, a ball stitched from rags, and a leather rolling underfoot. But Pope Francis' connection to sports goes far beyond nostalgia. For him, the playing field is a sacred ground of its own, a space where values like teamwork, respect, discipline and perseverance come to life. He once said, "Remind us that to win, you have to train, you have to work hard, and you have to play fair." Since acceding to the papacy in 2013, Francis has used his love for sports as a bridge reaching out to youth, to the marginalized, to people of different faiths and backgrounds.
Questa è una responsabilità sociale. Mi spiego. Nel gioco, quando siete in campo, si trovano la bellezza, la gratuità e il cameratismo.
He has invited athletes to the Vatican, spoke to the Olympic delegation, and even launched a Vatican Sports Association. One memorable day saw the Pope smiling boldly as he kicked a symbolic ball towards a group of children in St. Peter's Square, urging them to play with joy, not with anger. Though he no longer plays, the fire of sports still burns in Pope Francis. To him, it's not just about winning, but about becoming better together. Where it's football, basketball, or running, he sees in every game a metaphor of life. You can't do it alone, you need others. And so in the shadow of St. Peter's Basilica, the world watches a Pope who cheers not only from the sidelines, but from the soul of spreading hope, unity, and the undying love of the game. Ngabo Emon reporting.
May his soul rest in peace. We continue to mourn the passing of Pope Francis. We thank you so much for watching. That is all we had for you at this particular moment. We'll get back at 10 p.m. with another arrangement. UBC News tonight. See you then. Bye-bye.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others for home comfort. every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukoto Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
Mikulu Business Expo komipira 25 ine komyewo wakati wenazo mwezi mwenda paka 11 Mei lugugu uma showgrounds event service providers naba business endala zonna mwandu bademwe yuna Mikulu Business Expo komipira 25 emidala